Men in general are more lonelier than ever. Have you felt that you're kind of drifting apart from everyone? There is some kind of a lack of connection, maybe with the lack of close friends, maybe with the lack of just being able to connect with someone. But why is it that men are having and facing this kind of a loneliness epidemic? Is it because of dating apps? Is it because of excessive social media? Is it because of the detachment that one feels after you are growing up, or you've grown up and you lose touch with your close friends? What is the reason that so many men are feeling lonelier more than ever? Today we're going to be diving deep into this call. The loneliness crisis amongst men, and what we can do about it. When we say men today are lonelier than ever, it does not mean that they're single. It has nothing to do with them being single or dating or with a partner or not. It's more to do with the lack of close connections. It's more to do with the lack of social connections. It's more to do with the lack of kind of belonging to a group, the absence of real connections, social connections, and the growing struggle of mental health. According to recent studies, the percentage of men who have no close friends has tripled over the past 30 years. It's not just a trend, it's a crisis. In fact, loneliness is now a major public health issue, and men are at its forefront. So what is it? Is it social media? Is it dating? Or is it masculinity? The ever-changing definition of masculinity. Is this what a man is? Is this what a man is supposed to be? The confusion around masculinity and the ever-changing versions of masculinity. Is there a crisis of masculinity in itself? The percentage of men who have zero close friends has risen from 3% in 1990 to 15% in 2021. More than 1 in 4 men under 30 haven't had intimacy in the last year, the highest rate ever recorded. Depression and suicide rates among men are significantly higher than women. Male friendship have historically been activity-based, that is, meeting in sports clubs, doing projects together, working on new ideas together, and gathering or creating clubs where they can do different things together. Now, with the remote work, with the digital takeover of work, these kind of individual or physical setup meetups have declined. The shift towards digital interactions has removed these kind of bonding spaces and opportunities. Remote work means everyone is working from home through their screens. You're getting in touch with people through their screens. The meetings are happening through their screens. So when you're not going to a physical space to work, you don't have those kind of interactions, and hence these kind of bonding that you can create and make slowly begins to dwindle. Another significant stigma is male vulnerability. Historically, we've been taught that men are the providers and women are the caretakers. That is, men are the ones who would go to war, while women were the ones who would sit at home and take care of the household, take care of the men who come back, and take care of the children. Historically, we've been told that men are the breadwinners and the women are the people who stay at home and they're the homemakers. So when we are facing this kind of a narrative, and we are facing these kind of roles in today's time and age, the heavy burden of history still somewhere is sitting at the dining table. With that, if a man is feeling emotionally vulnerable, if he's feeling emotionally inflated, if he's feeling emotionally drained, and he has none of these friendships or close connections to share these emotions with, then there's a kind of a pent-up emotion that just keeps on building up. But at the same time, when men have been told historically that you have to be strong, and you cannot be weak. Boys don't cry is something we've always heard. So when historically we've been told that, it kind of gets so stitched into our being that when a man cries, you're told that, oh, stop being a crying baby. Stop acting like a woman. You are weak. So this whole narrative around the fact that men should always be very stoic in their demeanor and never really show their emotions is taking a big pitfall for the man, due to which many men hesitate to reach out for support, take help, seek help, or even open up to their own friends or some people who are close to them, with the fear of thinking that maybe he would be judged, he would be made fun of if he says that he's going through an issue and he's not manly enough to put up with it. As a result, they withdraw further into loneliness, leading to depression, suicide, and anxiety. I'm from India, so I speak from the Indian perspective. Growing up, well, we've grown up in a family of women, led by women. At the same time, when we would go for dinner or lunch to our extended family, we would always see how when the man comes home, there is like a service being provided for the man. He comes and he sits at the table and he's exhausted, so all the plates start moving around him. As soon as he comes home, the bag is taken from him. He sits at the table, the food is served at the table, and everything is just provided to him because the man is back home from work. It's that kind of respect that needs to be given to the men who go out to work and fend for a living. So historically, culturally as well, the context that we've been served of what masculinity is has really been very one-sided. Maybe he's come home from a very crazy day and maybe he just wants to pour his heart out. Maybe he does not want to put this facade of how strong he is and sit at the table. Or maybe he also does not need to fall into this role where he has to constantly be fed. He needs to constantly be serviced too. Maybe he could also just switch the roles. Maybe he could take his own bag and go and keep the bag where it needs to be kept in his room, or just go and help in the kitchen. So historically and even culturally, we've been told about different kinds of roles that men and women are supposed to play, and when those roles don't match, there's a kind of a shift, a kind of a drift, and a kind of a problem that stems from these initial stereotypes. Then we have the modern dating dilemma, the lost men problem. As we know, the way we date, the way we consume content, the way we interact with things, and also the way we date has changed drastically over the past decade. With the use of technology, we have so many dating apps. I've done a video the last time on dating apps as well. And with the use of dating apps, we've become more digital, and because we've become more digital, that kind of a interaction is based on an algorithm. So you don't know what kind of a person you're matching with. You're just matching with them based on their looks initially. The first interaction that you have with someone is just based on their looks. You're swiping left or right just with the vibe that person is giving through their photos or their bio. But usually what we've seen, the lost men problem, is like the women who are on the dating apps usually tend to select 10 to 15% of the men on the dating apps. There are only these 10 to 15% of men on the dating apps who fit the ideal bio that a lot of women are looking for. So the other 70-80% of men are left with very fewer choices, and many a times with not even being picked or not even getting enough likes, which leads to very little engagement for a lot of men. It went viral, looking for a guy in finance, 6'5", blue eyes, finance. It was this video that I spoke about in one of my previous videos, which went viral, a song that went viral rather, where the girl was looking for a guy who's very tall, who's in finance, and who has blue eyes. Now the probability of finding someone who's that tall, who's in finance, and has blue eyes is very teeny tiny. So when you do find that kind of man, maybe he's not a very nice person. Looks at the end of the day, height at the end of the day is not a deal breaker. It really shouldn't, because there's so much more to the person than just the physical aspect of it. So due to the rejections that a lot of men face on these dating apps, a sense of worthlessness takes over, a sense of unbelonging takes over, a sense of questioning takes over. We turn to online communities that build a kind of a resentment towards women because of these rejections. And many just simply opt out of the dating world altogether. Rise of artificial companionship, such as OnlyFans, AI-generated virtual girlfriends, and hyper-personalized porn, has also contributed to a growing number of men who choose digital escapism over real-world relationships. Did you know that 80% of men on dating apps barely get any matches, while the top 10% get flooded with attention? Dating apps operate on a hypergamous model. Women, on average, prefer men who are above average in attractiveness, social status, financial status. Women in general prefer an above average man in attractiveness, that is, his height, his social status, his financial status, his wealth. Data shows that women usually swipe right only on the 10 to 20% of men, while the 80 to 20 rule of dating, that is a Pareto principle in effect. A man swipes right on 100 women versus a woman swiping on 100 men. The man gets only 1 to 2 matches, while the woman gets 50 plus matches. Hating women because the dating app is not working, getting into the red pill movement is not the solution. Resentment is never going to take you to change or betterment. Thinking that one person is to blame because of the other is never going to take us anywhere. It's just going to double the problem, because the men start blaming the women and the women start blaming the men, and it's just a vicious cycle altogether. Hence, the dating market is completely dry and out, and the dating apps are making the most of it by feeding into our own insecurities and loneliness, by feeding us, giving us more features where we are paying more and getting into this whole capitalist culture of extruding and getting more out of these dating apps with the hope that maybe something better will come out. All of this leads to the red pill or manosphere movement.
The red pill movement claims to reveal the truth about gender dynamics, suggesting that society benefits women at men's expense. It promotes traditional masculinity and self-improvement while encouraging dominance in relationships. Many men feeling lost or disconnected are drawn to this ideology as it promotes control and clarity. Who are the incels? Incels are men who feel they are entitled to sex but are unable to form relationships. It's almost like the superiority thing. Since we are men, women owe us sex. Examples of these include Elliot Rodgers' manifesto. In this manifesto, he said that it basically promoted the idea that women owe men attention and intimacy. The manosphere and its toxic elements. What is the manosphere? The manosphere includes communities like the Red Pill, the MGTOW, that is, the men going their own way, and pickup artists. It often promotes toxic masculinity, misogyny, and extreme resentment towards women. The MGTOW advocates for avoiding relationships with women. It's almost saying that the men are going away from women because they're building their own way and women are not really needed. The PUAs promote manipulative dating tactics. By understanding these movements and their impact, maybe we can build healthier, more inclusive definitions of masculinity that allow men to embrace vulnerability and build genuine connections.
Take a look at platforms like Reddit, where men openly discuss their loneliness. Stories of men struggling to make friends, dealing with self-doubt, and finding it hard to connect emotionally with others are all too common. One man wrote, "I'm in my mid-20s and I don't know who to turn to. All my friends have moved on with their lives, and I'm left trying to fill the gap with work and the occasional online chat." And this has led to a growing number of men to blame feminism, dating culture, or female hypergamy. We've seen examples like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, or Red Pill influencers who blame women for everything, who blame feminism for everything, who started calling women feminazis because they think that women are the biggest Nazis over here, or women are the one who have become so liberated that they have tried to now put the men into boxes, which is not true at all. Then we have the passport bros movement. That is a lot of men who prefer to not date women from their country, but they prefer to travel to different countries and date women from those different spaces. Basically, dating abroad. They say that countries like Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, where the culture is a little different than theirs, they feel more valued, as the women over there are not so feminist. The digital trap. Gaming, videos, and AI replacements. Many men have turned to online spaces to fulfill this gap of the connection. That would be playing video games online, having more time in online space chat rooms, virtual interactions replacing in-person relationships. Social media platforms that are designed to maximize some kind of a connection, that this illusion of connection, usually leave you feeling more isolated than ever. It gives you this kind of a feeling that, oh, you can be in a different country altogether, your friends can be in a completely different continent altogether, and you're very well connected. That's just a very smart algorithm-based illusion that they've created that makes us even more isolated and separated and connected than before. Video games that used to be once a social activity where all the friends would interact together, sit together, and play together, now have been used as people who can just solo play from their homes. Initially, well, we still have football, of course, but now we have online football leagues. So everyone is just a gamer from their homes, or playing e-football, participating in e-football games and matches and leagues through just playing online instead of actually going out and playing that game. E-footballing or e-gaming has become such a huge market altogether, making the most out of this trend that is of the lack of connection. Perhaps the most concerning trend is the AI-generated companionship. We've seen in Japan where they approved some time back, how they've normalized AI robots or AI partners or AI sex robots as well. So instead of having a real human to be able to have that tactile touch, the use of robots and AI companionships, just by calming you down with the voice of an AI who has been tweaked and trained to convince you that it's a real person because that he or she is trying to be your companion while you're alone, or the AI sex robots that are available right now that gives you the illusion that you are with another person. At the end of the day, the tactile, human, emotion, feeling is very different with AI. In Japan, the rise of hikomori, the young men who withdraw entirely from society, often replacing real-life interactions with virtual relationships, serve as a warning of where Western culture could be headed. The normalization of AI girlfriends, virtual influencers, and digital companions could lead to even greater social withdrawal among men, making real-life relationships seem unnecessary or even undesirable. It's almost feeling like it's been normalized to such a level, the AI companions and virtual girlfriends, that the need of having a real life girlfriend is something bizarre, something unreal, something not even necessary anymore. Because many men who have turned into incels on these online communities have started to say, why do we even need a woman who is gonna just be cranky, who is gonna be nagging us? Instead, we have an AI girlfriend who says nothing and just does whatever we tell her to do. But again, that in itself is a deep realization of how many layers have been literally buried so that the emotions, the real emotions, are not faced. Then we have the crisis of masculinity. What even is it? What even is the definition of being a man today? As we saw at the beginning, as we've seen historically and culturally, men are the providers and women are the caretakers. Men have to be the strong, powerful, macho, alpha person, male, who goes to the gym, has like six packs, who has amazing abs, who's very strong, tall, manly, macho, alpha. Because if he is all of these things, then the woman is going to feel very secure because you have an alpha macho man taking care of you. This is historically that we've been told, a man who fits the bill, who's tall, who has the description of this alpha macho man who disrespects women or is very dominant, is very controlling, is very attractive. We've seen movies like 365 Days, which was a huge hit during COVID, where a lot of women, what was the story of 365 Days? Well, he's an Italian mafia, he's tall, good looking, he has a great body, he has six packs, great muscles, and he's dominant, he's controlling, he likes to control, he likes to command, he likes to just go ahead and kidnap women wherever he wants. And the woman, instead of like objecting initially, she did, but she just accepts to it because he's hot. And that is what is a great promoter of toxic masculinity. We don't realize that when we are promoting movies like 365 Days, or when we're supporting movies like Animal in India, where we've shown how he's mistreating the woman in his family, is known as a way to control the woman, is as known as a factor of masculinity to show their control over the women, is a major factor of toxic masculinity, where we're trying to fight it, but we're still going back way in time. So although there have been movements that have been working towards dismantling toxic masculinity, some men feel lost in a world where masculinity is often portrayed as negative or outdated. This growing confusion has led the men to understand, or not even understand, and leaving them a little more confused of what is a man supposed to be like? Is he supposed to be chivalrous? Because if he's chivalrous, he opens the door for you. Then you're like, okay, come on, who opens the doors in today's age? Or if he splits the bill, or if he pays the bill for you, like, oh no, I can split it like 50-50. So at the end of the day, if he is trying to be manly or chivalrous, then we question them. And when he's not, then we also question them. So at the same time, there's a lot of confusion as to what is the definition of a man today. Should men be assertive or passive? Should they be strong or neutral? Should they be powerful or show vulnerability? Should they focus on financial success, or is that considered shallow or materialistic? This lack of clear direction or definition has left a lot of men adrift without a strong sense of purpose or belonging. If a man shows emotions, then he's questioned for being too feminine or passive. If he doesn't show emotions, then he's known to be very stoic and too manly. If he's not too tall, then he does not fit the bill of being able to find a partner for himself. Like, who decides all these filters? Well, how can we fix this? While the loneliness crisis is alarming, there are many ways that we can rehitch it, restitch it. There are some steps that can be taken to address it. Rebuilding male friendships. Having that personal connection with another person is still so key and so important. We realized it post-COVID. It could be through communities, it could be through sports club, it could be through whatever hobbies that one connects with. It could be anything in which friendships could be nurtured and created in a safe setting. So the key is to create opportunities through connection. At the same time, normalizing vulnerability. We have to normalize that a man can cry. We have to normalize that a man has emotions. Please, as women, we've been craving that the man should show emotions. We don't want stoic men. We don't want men who are just like stone sitting in front of us. We want men who are human. We want men who are expressive. We want men who can just really be themselves, who can express their emotions, cry when they have to cry, love when they have to love, express their emotions when they are unhappy, express their emotions when they are overworked, express their emotions when they are feeling anxious or sad. Not have it all pent up over here, because as the emotions that are pent up over here, they turn into different kinds of pains and problems later on. Creating a space where men are not judged for showing their vulnerability, but rather supported for doing so. Fixing the dating mindset. Instead of blaming the dating market and the women for their choices, just to focus on their own improvement and their own pace. Could be, instead of letting bitterness and resentment take over, just focusing and building out through their social intelligence. It can be a very difficult world out there in the dating market. It always has been. And more so, it's impossible to find people or find a match in today's time and age. But working on one's social intelligence through your own charisma, your own intelligence, your own jokes, not to fall for the usual trap, the usual profile that you're supposed to come up with this line, or you're supposed to respond this way. No, you be your own authentic self, and you'll definitely find a match that's yours. Developing emotional resilience will yield better results than simply trying to optimize appearance or financial status. Digital detox and real-world connection. One of the best ways to combat loneliness is to reduce your screen time and level up on your in-person interactions. We are constantly on. We live in a hustle culture where we're constantly on an on time. We're never really off. So we have to practice and just dedicate the stipulated time to just being completely off your digital world. That could be not using your phones, not using your social media apps, or whatever it is while you are with people around you. Or dedicate some hours in your day where you're not going to be looking at your screen, and you're going to be focusing on maybe interacting with someone, joining a hobby, talking to that new friend that you've made at the park or at the gym, anything that focuses on in-person interactions rather than sitting behind the screen. Redefining masculinity for the future. Men should focus on building a balanced sense of self that incorporates both strength and emotional awareness. Masculinity shouldn't be about dominance and control, but about self-discipline, purpose, leadership, ability to form deep, meaningful relationships. Follow mentors who create positive reinforcement rather than resentment. Pop culture illustrates the struggle. Characters like Mad Men's Don Draper or Fight Club's Tyler Durden embody outdated ideals of masculinity. Tough, emotionless, and detached. Yet they are miserable. These portrayals show us the dangers of adhering to an image of masculinity that's no longer sustainable or healthy. By making small changes in how we connect with others, how we redefine our own build barriers, break our own build barriers, address mental health, we can break the cycle of loneliness together. But it starts with you. You have to take the first step. Reach out to a friend, join a community, and prioritize human connection over digital distraction. At the end of the day, we are all in this together. The more connected we are digitally, the more disconnected we become personally. It's time for us to take conscious steps in helping each other to get out of this crisis of loneliness, to get out of this crisis of the dating crisis, to get out of all kinds of crises that have been created because of our current day modern digital imprint.